So welcome officially, Elaine and Lynn. So done our expression. Let's just dive into our teaching for today. So share my screen. We'll have a look at the email. Quote the email, and then that'll lead us nicely into our lesson. Okay, so okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right, so if you can read that, Elaine, look at the quote.
It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped.
Yeah, from Tony Robbins, who's one of the world's best known motivational speakers. Actually been to one of his seminars in London, which is quite an experience. So, you know, all these, whatever it's typically associated with personal growth, but interesting that I've watched some of his podcasts recently, and is moving much more into letting go. He's done interviews with Michael Singer, who's really just Michael Singer's telling the truth. He's just saying that, you know, all you've got to do is let go. It's the one thing you've got to do. It's exactly the same message as Course in Miracles. You've got to let go of whatever your blocks are, and that's all you've got to do. So he's talking here about the power you have to shape your destiny in every moment, right? In the moments of decision. And you know, this echoes what the Course says. Moment by moment, you have a decision to make, and you only have a choice of two thought systems. The range is not infinite. It's just two thought systems: the ego being the separate self, or the Holy Spirit being oneness. You know, which thought system is going to interpret that particular moment for you, and that's the power of your decision. Moment by moment, we're making that choice. So, you know, this mind training is to make that choice conscious rather than subconscious, so that we become much more aware of these decisions we're making, which lead to us speaking words, taking actions. It's all a product of decision, isn't it? If you say something, you've made a decision, underlies those words to say it in a certain way, in a certain tone of voice. Taking actions, we feel, you know, inspired or impelled to take action, depending on whether we're listening to the Holy Spirit or the ego. And those actions and words have consequences. And these consequences form the sequence of events that make up your life experience and set in motion future events that will become present experiences in time. So when you understand that, it must be that your decisions now are the key to shaping your future life experiences, or what Tony Robbins calls your destiny. So let's look at it briefly on the timeline, just to give you another view of this. So in this moment, the wholly aware moment, the now, you have a situation. Now you have a choice as to how you're going to respond to that situation in the moment. Are you going to listen to the ego, which is based on your past and your conditioning and your programming, psychological and emotional attachment? Are you going to respond from that point of view? Or are you going to respond from the point of view of oneness, which is available in the moment, that has no reference to the past or future? Now you're going to make a decision, you know, which are you going to listen to? And then your words and your actions follow accordingly. So now the spirit or the ego is directing your thoughts, words, and actions. And then what's going to happen is that's going to have consequences on the timeline. You know, you say certain things, you do certain things. These make up your life. This now becomes part of your life experience. It becomes your manifest life experience in this world. And that has further consequences, right? So this is the law of karma. Cause in my thoughts, and then I speak it in my words, in my actions, that becomes now, that has consequences. And so consequences flow from decisions, words, and actions which is how then that it changes our life. Whether you listen to the ego or the Holy Spirit, and that's going to have a profound impact on how your life then unfolds. So in the moment of decision, your destiny is forged. That's what he's saying. How your life is going to play out is forged in these moments of decision. If you keep making the wrong decisions, wrong-minded decisions, then you take yourself down a track which is not going to be a good outcome. You're gonna experience a lot of pain and suffering because you keep making the wrong choices. If you keep making right-minded choices, then your destiny flows forward in a different way, and now the Holy Spirit's in charge, and it's much more beneficent and helpful. You're going in the right direction, and synchronicities and miracles and more love and peace and joy start coming. You still have your challenges, but these are the choices. And what Yeshua is saying is, moment by moment, you have that choice. Every moment you are making a choice. Do I respond to this from the ego or from the Holy Spirit? Most of the time, that choice is unconscious. You're not conscious, you're making it. So that is to become much more consciously aware. Okay, right now, I'm making a decision. Do I stay in truth, in oneness, and I flow with life, or am I going to allow negative thoughts to come in and negate that? And that's a decision as to what do I allow? What do I allow into my mind? So it's critical that we're aware of these choices, and then we make the right choice. With awareness comes the responsibility to decide correctly. So as I say, destiny is nothing more than a product of our decisions, which can be fundamentally changed from a fear-based foundation to a love-based one at any moment. So in the holy instant, the holy aware moment, you can shift. And it's like that. It's a switch. And we've all experienced those moments where you switch and like, okay, I can see it differently. And then it changes. So that's a decision in that moment. So in this world, because of the split in the mind, we're called on to make decisions all the time because there's two alternatives. So now we have to choose between them. So you cannot avoid making decisions while you're still seemingly in a dualistic reality where there seem to be the opposing thought systems of fear and love to choose between, right? So decision is not necessary in heaven. In pure formless awareness of perfect love, there's nothing to decide between. There's no alternative. But in an illusion, there seems to be an alternative, and so now we must choose between the alternatives. So decision is part of the dream world. But decision is the way out of the dream world. This is the key. By deciding, you cut away one option. So the word decision stems from the root Latin words de and cidere, which means to cut away, literally. So we cut away one option when we decide. Cut away or let go in our language of one of these options to choose the other. So, you can't have it both ways. Decision means you cut away one and you commit to the other. The worst thing you can do is not decide. Go, well, I can have some of each. No, you can't.
And it gets messy.
Well, it's a mess because, yes, you can't, there's no clarity there. There's two conflicting thought systems in your mind telling you opposite things, and you can't decide which one is correct. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to get stuck, aren't you? You're not going to go anywhere because you can't decide. And so a lot of people live, a lot of their lives in that sort of limbo. They're not actually going anywhere. So it's almost like being at a crossroads, and you have to make a decision to go one way or another. You can't go both ways. They go opposite directions. Imagine being undecided, and you might decide to go one way for a few steps, and then you turn around and you go, no, that's not the way, go the other way. And you got these two guides pulling you in the opposite direction, saying, no, follow me, this is the right way. And the other one saying, no, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Listen to me, go this way. Well, you couldn't possibly listen to two guides and be sane and peaceful and go anywhere on the journey. You're going to be stuck at that crossroads for a long time, just walking around and around, not really being decided, and that feels terrible. Being undecided is a horrible feeling of uncertainty. Whereas when you decide, there's clarity. Okay, I'm going this way. That means I'm not going that way. Okay, at least I have clarity. I'm now on my journey. So that's what we're being asked to do. So you must cut away the one option in order to allow the other to actually guide you.
Wow.
So that's really the core teaching of the course. It's one or the other. You can't have both. What you've been trying to do is fudge it. Okay, I can have a bit of both and best of both worlds. But how can you? Because they totally contradict each other. They take you in a different direction. So you can't really make sense of a thought system that's completely divided. So your primary responsibility to your capital self and everyone else who's actually the same self is to use your power wisely to choose loving thoughts, emotions, words, and actions, and create an experience of peace, love, and joy for yourself and others, no matter what may arise to tempt you to choose fear. So the ego tempts you with the externals and says, oh, no, in this instance, fear is justified. And so you've got to learn, and this is all you've got to learn in life, that it's not justified. It's never justified because it's just fundamentally wrong. It's flawed. It's false. So no matter what the pressures may seem to be that trigger it, work pressures, relationship conflicts, financial worries, these are common things. I know you're both dealing with some of these issues. And anything else that seems to stress you, it doesn't matter. Stress is really just fear by another name. Because all stress is the perception of some form of external threat, even if that's only a perceived threat to your expectations being fulfilled. See, so part of our stress in life is, oh, I don't think my expectation is going to be fulfilled. Then I feel stressed and I feel threatened. But it's all perceptual. Nothing really happening except in your mind. A perceived threat. That's all stress is. So if you start to be able to see this, the clarity of awareness of the truth then leads to the correct decisions. And the correct decision is to let go of the stress, let go of your belief in any of these triggers that seem to cause you stress. And that's the way you decide for the truth and against the illusion. It's moment by moment when these stressors come up and you tempt it, you let it go, and you don't fall into the temptation to believe these thoughts and emotions. Yeah. So that's really, this is a course in correct decision making. It's another way of looking at it, but it's all about correct decisions. Make right-minded decisions rather than wrong-minded decisions. And today's workbook lesson is designed to help you to shape your destiny, as Tony Robbins puts it, moment by moment and decision by decision. So that leads us nicely into it. Let's have a look. I'll just go to the, where are we? Lesson 152. Our decision is my own. Okay, so you can read that quote, Elaine, and paragraph 1 for us.
The power of decision is my own. No one can suffer loss unless it be his own decision. No one suffers.
Read in the alternative.
The alternative. I
No,
cannot suffer
Mhm.
unless it's my own decision to do so. I do not suffer pain except when I choose this state. I cannot grieve or fear or be sick unless these are the outcomes that I want. And I do not die without my own consent. Nothing occurs that does not represent my wish, and nothing is omitted that I choose. Here is my world, complete in all its details. Here is its whole reality for me, and it is only here that I can awaken.
Hmm. So thoughts on that?
It's all down to our own decision and everything. Loss, pain. We choose the state. We don't have to grieve, fear, or be sick unless it's that's what we want.
Mm.
And we even don't have to die unless it's my own consent. Well, that's interesting. So I could live till 500 years old.
Well, perhaps. Would you want to? That's the question.
No.
Would you
Well,
really want to?
Not really, no. Definitely, yeah, true.
No.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Apparently, there have been, some very long-lived people in the East. It's recorded that some, so when they went to Tibet, that they'd find these lamas and stuff who'd been doing spiritual practices their whole life, and they're like 200 years old and they still look young. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, because one doesn't know if one wasn't there to verify it. But there's a guy who wrote, Baird T. Spalding was his name. He wrote Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East, and he recorded that he met these Tibetan masters, and they were like 200 years old was young. Something like 700. Extraordinary. Who knows? Yeah. But the point is, it's a thought system. Death is a thought system. It's part of the death wish of the ego. So he's saying this is all your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all a choice. All the pain, the misery, the suffering, the sickness, the death that seem to occur here is as a result of a choice to be a separate self. So you've chosen then all of this, including death.
Yeah.
Nothing occurs that does not represent my wish. Nothing is omitted that I choose. So he's saying, look, choice is it. You're responsible for everything. Whatever you're experiencing, it's a result of your choice. Not necessarily on a conscious level, most of the time not, but on a subconscious level. And it's a result of a choice, a deep-seated choice we made once upon a time when time began to be a separate self. That's why you're experiencing these things in a human life and having a seeming human lifetime, because you decided that you wanted to be a separate self. So yes, you're responsible for all of it because of that one decision, you see? So although, consciously you're not choosing, pain, suffering, death, no one will consciously do that. Subconsciously, you have chosen that by choosing to be a separate self, and by maintaining the separate self. You choose it over and over and over again. So in every moment, you're making a choice as to whether you're going to believe in the ego story, and really it's a disaster. It's a disastrous reality that's created, where sickness, suffering, and ultimately death seem to be reality. Or you choose to be free of all that and choose to be in pure formless awareness of perfect love. Okay, so number 2, if you can read that, Lynn.
Could you make it a bit bigger for me, please, Jono?
Yeah, no problem. Okay, read it in the alternative.
I may believe that this position is extreme and too inclusive to be true. Yet, can truth have exceptions? If I have the gift of everything, can loss be real? Can pain be part of peace or grief of joy? Can fear and sickness enter in a mind where love and perfect innocence are present? Truth must be all-inclusive to be the truth at all. I accept no opposites, no exceptions, for to do so is to contradict the truth entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some thoughts on that?
Yeah. So if we believe any part of the illusion, it won't work. None of it will work because we'll feel guilty. We'll feel not enough. We'll feel bad. So that's my bad. That was my bad girl word came up there then. Bad girl.
Bad girl. Yeah.
Yeah, guilty. Yeah,
Pain, pain. As you're saying, you can't reconcile these. How can pain be part of peace or grief of joy? How can fear and sickness enter in a mind where love and perfect innocence are present? Right. One thought of fear, sickness, grief, pain, suffering enters into the mind. It's no longer perfect love, is it?
No, we're being the body again. We're believing we're the body. We're believing we're separate. Yeah.
So it must be all inclusive to be the truth at all. Perfect oneness is perfect oneness. That means there's nothing else.
Yeah.
It's perfectly logical. I mean, it can't be perfect oneness if you have an idea of separation going on and all kinds of, thoughts and emotions related to that. It's not perfect oneness there. Then your mind is split. You have two things going on. So he's asking for
easy. It's just so easy to slip back into those nonsense thoughts, though.
Yeah. Because we've identified with the ego for so long that that's become our default thought system. So now we think that's normal.
Yeah.
That these delusions, these coverings over the truth of pure formless awareness, of perfect love, are somehow normal. That's reality. That's how life is. That's who we are. And we tolerate them because we think this is how, this is what we are. And this is what life is about. And it's only a teaching like this that gets you to start becoming aware of those thoughts and emotions and saying, no, these are completely out of accord with truth. And so, I must let them go. I can't tolerate these anymore. I accept no opposites and no exceptions. For to do so is to contradict the truth entirely. See, one idea of an opposite to truth that enters your mind, that you entertain, splits your mind.
I said to Sally the other day, and literally only a couple of days ago, I think it was, I said, I know these things I think about myself just aren't true. I know it. I say absolutely know it. I know it very, very well. But there's some beliefs in me that are so deeply ingrained, even when I know they're nonsense, it's almost like the phrase comes up in my head and says, "You're not good." Do you know what I'm saying? It's so deeply ingrained. I can't even change the words yet. I'm working on it, obviously. And today, I think we'll have that one-to-one I've just had with you. I think that will help me perhaps break through that barrier, because the fact that even came up to my came up in my face a few days ago, it was so clear to me that it's so deeply ingrained. I kept, the words are just like a sentence. I almost couldn't stop thinking about myself. You are not good enough. You are guilty. You're a bad girl. Like from the childhood, you're a bad girl. Those things. Those words are so deeply in my psyche. They're the ones that I'm healing.
Yeah. It's a deep-seated, the ego goes very, very deep. It's the source of the entire world, manifest universe. It's the source of your body. It's the source of your apparent separate identity here as a human being. I mean, this is a way deep program, isn't it? Look at what it's done. So when you start to challenge it, you start to see, wow, this is so deep-seated. It's like it's the core belief that's covered over the truth, and that core belief causes you to come back you will reincarnate over and over as long as you have that belief.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Oh, well, so you can heal it.
Yeah.
That's, fortunately, you can look at it, you can really get to the bottom of that belief. You can see it for what it is, and you can, let it go. And that's a, systematic, progressive process. It doesn't happen one time. It's in the moment of decision. When you choose to let go of the ego thoughts and emotions in that moment, then you're making the choice to heal rather than to reinforce the false self-concept. So it's a moment by moment, decision-making process that will get you there. So we need to be vigilant. Okay, so watch your mind. What decisions are you making moment by moment?
Watching those thoughts,
Oh,
stopping them.
yeah.
Forming
So the
them.
thoughts may come, those thoughts will come, but then you don't have to believe them.
Yeah.
That's where your decision comes in.
Stop
Okay, so the
believing that
thought
belief.
arises, and then your mind is tempted to latch onto it and go, oh, that's true. And then you think another thought and another one on the same track.
Yeah.
And then emotions start coming. And then before you know it, you're fully in the ego's grip. Because you've gone down that rabbit hole and, it's gripped you. But if you just didn't believe the thought, just like let it come, okay. I see it, but no, I don't have to believe that. Just let it go, let it pass away.
Yeah.
So things arise and then they just pass away. And that's the art of letting go. I'm not saying you won't get tempted and you won't have crazy thoughts.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Like an enlightened being, a guy called Ramakrishna, was asked once, said, do you ever have any negative thoughts? And he said, yeah. And they were shocked. They're like, but you're the guru, you shouldn't have negative thoughts. Said, yeah, but the difference is they just come and then they go. They arise and they just pass away. And I don't attach to them. I don't make them real. I don't think more of them. Just like they kind of leaves just kind of blowing through your mind. They just drift away on the breeze of spirit, and they don't really disturb you. They just kind of come and they go. And if we'd had that attitude with the original idea of separation, then it wouldn't have had the impact it has. Oh, tiny mad idea. No, but that's just whatever, just a silly idea. Just let it go. But the problem is we desired it. That idea was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that offers me something else. Now we desire it, and then belief and desire go hand in hand, you see.
Yeah.
Now I believe in it because I want it, because I think this offers me something. So that's how desire leads to belief. And then once we believe in it, that idea has the power to change our whole reality, our whole world, as we've seen. Look at what that idea has done. It splits us off from our source. It's caused us to manifest this whole material universe, to be a separate self in a body. I mean, my God, what an look at the power of an idea. So that's why I'm saying, just there's no exceptions. Don't make exceptions, because one exception then denies the truth. One exception keeps the illusion going. Remember, one exception means that the idea of separation is real. That's the game.
Yeah, if you believe in part of it,
you believe it.
Yeah.
Okay, now separation is real. That means that I'm accepting the entirety of the ego's thought system in that moment. So I have to accept all of it: the pain, the suffering, the sickness, the misery, the death, special relationships that go nowhere. All of it in that one moment when I accept the exception and I believe it. Whoa! I mean, that's like whoa. You understand the power of your decision? It's huge.
Yeah.
You choose an entirely different reality each time you choose. You're choosing between heaven and hell each time you choose.
Yeah.
This world, or the world of pure formless awareness, the reality of pure formless awareness of perfect love. You choose between those, and every choice is taking you, closer to one of those realities. So, we have to be vigilant and be aware of the power of our choice, moment by moment. Okay, happy to move to number 3.
Yeah.
Awakening. Yep. Awakening is the recognition that the truth is true and nothing else is true. This I have heard before, but may not yet accept both parts of it. Without the first, the second has no meaning. But without the second, the first is no longer true. Truth cannot have an opposite. This cannot be too often said and thought about. For if what is not true is true, as well as what is true, then part of truth is false, and truth has lost its meaning. Nothing but the truth is true, and what is false is false.
Okay, can you summarize that?
Well, it's just again about the recognition of awakening and seeing what's truth and what's false. I mean, it's obviously going into more depth there, seeing you can't.
Well, it should be completely obvious. I mean, he's stating the blindingly obvious. Well, the
exactly.
truth is true, and nothing else is true. Well, yeah, duh, of course. How can anything else be true if there's only truth?
Yeah,
but he's stating it because we believe that there's two truths. We might sort of accept that there's this other transcendent realm. We are sort of a little bit awakened, but then we also believe this world is true. So now we split our minds because both can't be true, because they contradict each other. That's really the essence of duality. Okay, you seem to have two truths going on, and they seem to contradict each other. And now you try and make both of them true. Well, it's not possible. And you can only do that by dissociation, by not seeing clearly what each supposed truth stands for. So it's a self-deception to believe that both love and fear can be real. If you believe the opposite of truth is true, then truth has lost its meaning. You can no longer access the truth. So when you believe in love's alternative, then you actually deny the truth. And it's one or the other. You're either in the truth or you're in the illusion. You can't be in both simultaneously. You can find yourself vacillating between them, but they're opposite states. And that's part of the transition. You vacillate a bit and you bounce from one to the other, but you start seeing that each one is they're mutually exclusive. I cannot be in truth and in illusion simultaneously. Okay. Happy with that?
Yes.
Number 4, Lynn.
This is the simplest of distinctions, yet the most obscure, but not because it's a difficult distinction to perceive. It is concealed behind a vast array of choices that do not appear to be entirely my own. And so the truth appears to have some aspects that belie consistency and do not seem to be only contradictions introduced by me.
And belie. Belie means deny.
Belie.
Deny consistency. Now, what's he saying in that one?
The choice between believing separation or not.
Yeah. And there's a vast array of choices. It's a very simple distinction, but the ego's confused us because there seems to be in this world a vast array of choices. Choose to do that, you could choose to do that. We've got seemingly endless choices about where we live and our life situation and our partners and our jobs and our financial situation, and on it goes. Many, many choices that we seem to have to make. But that obscures the only real choice. So we think we're really making a different choice by saying, well, I'll go get that job instead of this one, or I'll go for that special relationship and let go of this one. We think we're making some kind of real choice, but we're not, because we're actually just choosing between illusions. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
So it appears that the truth, it seems to have some aspects that deny consistency, but actually these are just contradictions introduced by me. So I've valued these things, and because I valued them, they seem to obscure the truth, and I'm not aware of the truth.
Yeah,
so the truth
I've got
doesn't
those
always seem to-
subjects.
Yeah. So we have blind spots. We all have exceptions we make, contradictions
Yeah.
that are introduced by you. That's part of your own belief system.
Yeah.
So take the special relationship. We just talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a contradiction introduced by you.
Yeah.
If you believe that in the special relationship and that it offers you something, then you split your mind. And that one contradiction contradicts the truth entirely.
It throws everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why, the healing has to be comprehensive. It's in every area. You can't leave one area of your perception to the ego and say, oh, well, that's okay. The special relationship's all right. I won't go there. I'm happy to, practice meditation. I'll do my awareness, and I'm letting go of other stuff. Yeah. But I won't go there because, I value that. Well, you're never going to awaken. And that will introduce contradiction into all the other areas of your life as well, because it's cancer. It's a virus in your mind, so it'll spread to other areas. You can't not look at that area and awaken. You must look at all of it. So that's why the course is so comprehensive, and he's so rigorous. Like, okay, there's no exceptions. Doesn't matter what you think, it can be excluded from the truth. You must bring it all to the truth.
Last year, someone told me that I compartmentalize things, and I didn't understand it at the time, but I totally do now, because that's it. So I know I have a belief that I can find the joy in those things that I love, like my photography and nature, and so I don't have the blocks there. But relationships, money flow, I can see. I've compartmentalized them and seen them as unachievable.
Yeah. And that then is a block to the truth in your mind, and that will keep you in the illusion. As long as that area is resolved, the ego has a hold in your life and in your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
And you allow that. We allow that. No one else does.
Create it.
You allow it. You continue to foster it by believing those thoughts.
Yeah.
And we compartmentalize our lives and our minds, and that's part of the fragmentation. It's like separation. Okay, well, that part is kind of hived off, and that part's the ego's part, and this part is the spirit's, and I can somehow make that work. But you can't, because there's a fundamental contradiction. And you won't be whole unless you've done this in all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
It's got to be complete. So the truth is true for you in every aspect of your life. Otherwise, it's not true at all. Otherwise, you're believing in an illusion. So it's a comprehensive, it's a full on, there's no room for half measures here. If you don't want, you can't accept the truth partially. Which is why a lot of people get challenged by this. It's one of Christine's friends I met in Cape Town. It's like, no, this is too full on for me. Okay, right. You want to be half on then? Being half on is going to awaken you. I mean, come on. Like, if you look at it, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy. Like, how can you, half on doesn't do anything. Half on's like mediocre. It's just kind of a wishy-washy, nothing, nowhere state of
In
like
betweeny.
in between, and kind of a gray mush. Well, I'm kind of doing some spiritual stuff, and it maybe is a bit of a palliative. It helps me a little bit, but then I've still got the ego, very much there, and I'm not willing to really look at it and say, okay, one of these must go. There's not room for both of them in my mind if I'm going to be sane and peaceful. So, the course is, it is full on. You have to commit 100%. That's a process. I mean, he's not expecting us to do that overnight. Hence, we have the mind training. You understand it's going to be a process. He's asking you for more and more commitment. But in the end, that's what you've got to do if you want to awaken fully and you want to free your mind from this, insane dream. That's what you have to do. And there's, teachings that say you don't, but those are false. There's teachings that say, oh, the ego's okay. We kind of need ego while we're here. And you've heard that, haven't you? Kind of makes it okay. Oh, well, it's all right. You can have some ego. It's just saying, no. The whole thing's got to go, right? There's no zero tolerance for the ego. Zero tolerance. It's all got to go. It means you've got to let go of it whenever it arises. Okay, so number 5.
Okay.
As pure formless awareness of perfect love extends me, I must remain unchangeable, with transitory states by definition false. And that includes all shifts in feeling, alterations in conditions of the body and the mind, and in all awareness and response. This is the all-inclusive which sets the truth apart from falsehood, and the false kept separate from the truth as what they both really are.
Wow. I mean, just read that. It's just profound. Every shift in feeling, all alteration in conditions of the body and the mind, all awareness, all response, all the shifts and the changes that seem to be part of human existence are unreal, are false.
Mm-hmm. So, at the moment we're all very hot, so it's all false.
That's because it's temporary. It's not going to be hot forever because the weather will change. You cool down. All of that is transitory. None of that is then true by definition. If the truth is unchangeable, then whatever changes must be false. Yeah. So this is the simple logic that he's been asking us to apply to all of our experiences in this world. But it's pretty, if it doesn't challenge you a bit, you're like, whoa, he's asking for the whole, there's no half measures here. He's asking for my whole commitment to the truth. But what else will work? What do you think being half committed to the truth is going to work? Well, I kind of get it, but actually I still want to entertain illusions. I mean, how could you ever expect that to work? All right, number 6.
It is not strange that I...
Is it not strange?
Oh, is it not strange that I believe to think I made the world I see in our... Oh, God, that's a mouthful. Is it not strange that I believe...
To think I made the world is
think
arrogance.
I made the world I see is arrogance.
Yeah, not saying that.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love did not make it. Of this I can be sure. What can it know of the ephemeral, the sinful, and the guilty, the afraid, the suffering and lonely, and the awareness that seems to live within a body that must die? I accuse it of insanity to think it made a world where such things seem to have reality. It is not mad, yet only madness makes a world like this. Oh,
Yeah. What's coming up for you?
yeah, I know I create all my mess.
Hmm.
And I see times where I don't, yeah, where I create peace and joy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's, it's one or the other, truth or illusion.
yeah,
They're saying here, you think God made the world, but actually that's not possible. God had absolutely nothing to do with the world of the ephemeral. Ephemeral means temporary, changeable. Sinful and the guilty, the afraid, the suffering, the lonely. How could pure formless awareness of perfect love have anything to do with that? It's a complete denial of pure formless awareness of perfect love.
yeah,
The awareness that seems to live within a body that must die. Well, pure formless awareness of perfect love doesn't know anything about any of this. It's just pure formless awareness. No form, none of these things exist in it. So I'm insane if I think God made this world, then I'm insane. It's an insane belief.
yeah,
Why, none of the religions, if they don't have this the idea of the illusion, they can't really explain it. It's like God is love, okay, but God also created the world. Okay, well, you have a massive contradiction there. Massive. Can you see those two statements?
yeah.
God is love. Okay, great, sounds good. But God created the world. Whoa. So, okay, the world
So
is full of
messy.
pain and
Yeah,
suffering and sickness and
yeah,
loneliness, death. How could a God of love have created this shit show? Excuse my French. How's that possible? And so, what Yeshua has figured out, he's gone, well, then it's not possible. That's the only answer. Yeah.
yeah,
So it seems to be possible. We have an illusion of this going on, but it's just that. It's an illusion. It's not truth. It's not reality. God had nothing to do with the world. Thank God. Otherwise, God is a psychopath. I mean, who would create this? It's insane what goes on here.
yeah,
How could a loving God that only wanted, happiness, love, peace, and joy do this? Then God put us here, what, to suffer and die in this horrible reality? Is that really what a loving God would do to his children? I mean, come on, let's be honest. Let's really look at it. As he says, to think that God made chaos.
yeah.
Read the next one.
To think that pure formless awareness of perfect love made chaos contradicts. Oh God, do you know, I can't see it very well. Could you just make it a little bit bigger for me, Jono? Sorry. I'm really struggling to see bits of it.
Yeah, I get to actually maybe 170. Better?
But yeah, to think that pure formless awareness of perfect love made chaos contradicts its will, invented opposites to truth, and suffers death to triumph over life. All this is arrogance. Excuse me. Humility would perceive at once these things do not come from perfect love. And can I really perceive that pure formless awareness of perfect love did not extend? To think I can is merely to believe I can perceive that pure formless awareness of perfect love did not will to exist. And what could be more arrogant than this?
Yeah, so what's he saying there?
It's, well, my perception, it's our belief in separation and all the negative effects that go with that create the chaos, because the opposite is love, and all those things that are going on out there in the outside world are, a lot of it really isn't love at all. So there's no way that love can create something that's not love.
Yeah, so then it must be the only logical solution to the conundrum is that it must be illusion. So
Yeah.
this is what Yeshua understood. So, okay, so God of love couldn't do this. So then it can't be real.
Yeah. It's not true.
And that's the insight that resolves the seeming paradox. There's only way out of the paradox. It can't be real then.
Yeah.
What is not love cannot be real. And that realization then helps you to let go of what can't be real in your mind. You then, well, I can't believe in this, and I can't think about it and feel emotions about it if it's not real.
Oh, somebody's at the door. Sorry. I'll be back.
Okay. Move on to number 8. Elaine, if you can read that.
Yes. Let me today be truly humble and accept what I have made as what it is. The power of decision is my own. Decide to accept only my rightful place as one with the universe of perfect love, and all I think I made will ultimately disappear. What rises to my awareness then will be all that there ever was, eternally as it is now. And it will take the place of self-deceptions made only to cover over the foundation of the source and its extension.
Okay, so what's he saying there?
Well, for us to be truly humble and to accept our rightful place with the universe of perfect love, and the rest to ultimately disappear. And just, it's all here now. And it'll replace the self-deceptions that covered up the foundation of the source of its extension.
Yeah, so the truth starts arising, and we realize that none of the it's just a covering, a veil of illusion. That's called a veil. It just covers over the truth, and the world is just the justification for the thoughts and emotions that cover over the truth. So that's why we've invented it. And we seem to get these triggers that now justify the false thoughts and emotions which cover over pure formless awareness of perfect love. You see, so the internal and the external are not separate. The exterior is a projection of that internal mind that's disturbed, and it wants to keep being disturbed, keep believing in its illusion of separation from source. But today we practice. You want to read this? I think, Lynn, are you back, or she might still be at the door? Do you want to read the next one, Elaine?
Today I practice true humility, abandoning the false pretense by which the belief in separation seeks to prove humility is arrogant. Only the belief in separation can be arrogant. But truth is humble in acknowledging its mightiness, its changelessness, and its eternal wholeness, all-encompassing. Perfect love's perfect gift to its beloved extension. I let go of the arrogance which says that I am a sinner, guilty and afraid, ashamed of what I am, and lift my heart in true humility instead to pure formless awareness of perfect love, which has created me immaculate and like itself in power and in love.
Yeah, very, very nice. So any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, all this belief in separation is just, it is arrogant. The truth is the humble, and we have to acknowledge that its mightiness and eternal wholeness, all encompassing.
This is why, I think it's in the Bible, it says, he who humbles himself will be made great. So when we truly humble ourselves, then we are made great in this awareness, mighty truth. The magnificence of our being starts arising, and all the little thoughts of sin and guilt and fear just disappear. on realizing who we really are. Okay, so number 10. Lynn, are you back with us?
I am back.
Okay, if you can read number 10 for us, please.
The power of decision is my own, and I accept of my source what I truly am, and humbly recognize the extension of perfect love. To recognize perfect love's extension implies as well that I have to let go of all self-concepts, excuse me, and recognize them as false. I have perceived their arrogance, and in humility, I joyously accept as my own the radiance of perfect love's extension, its gentleness, its perfect innocence, its source is love, and my right to the state of pure formless awareness and release from victimhood and suffering. So I can choose to know the truth, that I'm perfect.
Yeah,
Or,
it's a decision. See, moment by moment, I decide what do I believe about myself. We're always deciding who we are.
yeah.
Each
Or I
moment.
decide to believe the ego and suffer and continue to
Yeah.
suffer.
Oh, it's it's as simple as that. Very clear cut. And once you have this clarity, well, surely the right choice is obvious. Shouldn't it? It shouldn't be difficult to make the right choice.
It shouldn't be.
No, but it is. It's seemingly because the choice gets obscured.
Yeah, it does.
We forget the clarity, and things come in and circumstances, and then there seems to be many other choices to make, and we forget the simple truth.
Yeah.
It's
A
obscured
load of
by
old
all of it.
nonsense gets in our heads, in our
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why you keep practicing. We do these teachings. We practice the lesson because every day he reminds you, okay, here it is again. Truth hasn't changed. Just will you accept it, or will you deny it today?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So I've got to go in about 7 minutes, but we can do a quick. He's saying 5 minutes, so we'll just do a quick 5-minute practice, shall we? On this lesson.
Yeah.
So just.
Yeah.
And making yourself comfortable. Favorite meditation posture, sitting feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes and start off with a nice deep breath in through the nose. So you're breathing in, you're noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils, and you clench your sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Then draw the energy up the spine into your heart center. Put one hand on your heart to connect with your heart space. Pull the energy up into the crown of your head. Pause at the top of the inhale. So it's a maximal inhale breath. Scan your mind, so you're noticing any thoughts, any related emotions, any body sensations. Remind yourself that it's all a result of your decision. Power of decision is my own. Today, I accept myself as what my source's will extends me to be. And that I accept myself as what my source's will extends me to be in this moment. Means that these thoughts, these emotions, which are just blocks to that will, cannot be real. They must be false, illusory deceptions created by this ego, belief in a separate self. So I recognize that and I can let them go now. with the help of my breath. So exhale, blow them out. The breeze of your breath, and going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine to expel the last remaining air and negativity out. Imagine it's like a dark cloud or black smoke leaving you. It's leaving your body, leaving your mind, leaving your energy system. And then you just wait in silence. So breathing in and out through your nose. Deep, slow, rhythmical breaths. And just wait in the silence. Giving up all self-deceptions. As I humbly ask myself, ask your true self, capital self, to reveal itself to you. And this presence, which never left, will come again into your awareness, grateful to restore to you your true home in pure formless awareness and perfect love, as it was meant to be. So this is just something you surrender to. So just give yourself a minute just to surrender into this deeper awareness. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still, and surrender in to this deep awareness of the truth for the next minute of silence. So just gently coming back from this deep state into an awareness of the body and the breath, senses in the world. And on the count of three, you're going to open your eyes. So one, just breathing in, notice how the stomach rises and the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Notice any thoughts, any emotions that are still there, lurking, and just make the decision. Say the power of decision is my own. And this day, right now, I accept myself as what my source's will extends me to be. Exhale. And just blow it out. Let it all go, and count to 2. Notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground. Ground yourself back into this world. Just stay connected to the truth by reminding yourself of this lesson. And on the count of 3, open your eyes. Look around. So just take a minute to ground yourself back. And you want to stay in this deep connected state. So carry this truth with you. Help you do that in the day. Just use the lesson frequently, ideally every hour. Send you a breath break to do that, or instructions to do that. So that'll keep you connected to this deep truth and awareness, and in the flow. So that brings us to the end of the little meditation and the session. There will be another one this evening at 5. If you'd like to join then. Would you like to join us, Lynn, Elaine, to do the text?
Yeah, I've got to walk the dog, and if I can work it all around that by the time I get back from town, then I'll be back on.
Yeah, okay. Does 5 p.m. work?
I think so. What's the time now?
It's now 2:30.
Yeah, it just depends on buses and things. I'm going to see if I've got a post office fairly near. So, I'm sorry to all my details, but I need to pay some money into a bank today before it shuts, because I won't get another chance.
Well, I can come at 5 o'clock, and then I'll have to have like tea about 6. So Lynn takes over then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll start. It's quite a substantial section of text, so let's start at 5. And
okay.
Lynn, join if you can. If
I'll aim for 5.
All right. Okay. See you later.
All right.
See you
Thanks.
later.
Bye.